Hello, guys. So we are now in Brussels during ECC, and here with you, Anna Tutova, co-founder of Coins Telegram, and our guest, Miguel Morel, who is co-founder and CEO of Arkham Intelligence platform. So great to have you here.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So can you tell us about your background? How did you discover crypto and blockchain first?
Yeah, of course. So I ended up moving to California in 2016, 2017, and that was kind of the heart of the Ethereum community at the time. And so I had met many people in the Bay Area who were interested in crypto. I knew that I wanted to start a startup, and I wanted to work on startups generally. And there's always this question as a founder of where you're going to build your business, like what market you have to pick a market first and foremost. Am I going to work in biotech? Am I going to start a social media company? Am I going to do one of these things? And so I was kind of searching for what market I wanted to work in.
Did you
Um,
study as well in California?
no, actually, I didn't end up going to college. And so, that was one of the key things where I needed to find something where the people were very smart, where I found the topic to be interesting. And, crypto was at the intersection of two things that interested me, technology and finance. And I needed something that didn't have as much of a barrier to entry with respect to, credentials as somebody who didn't have a college degree. And so crypto actually hit all three of those. It was a really fast growing and really exciting market. I had met many very intelligent people who were really interested in cryptocurrency and in Bitcoin. And the barrier to entry was basically non-existent because the industry had been built by people who were anonymous, right? And so there wasn't any sense of credentialism or needing a degree or needing any particular background. Crypto was for everyone, even including people who you didn't even necessarily know their names, their age, or what their background was, and so
And you there and
that was very
invite them
interesting.
now.
Yes, exactly, and so it is it was the right industry for me, and that's kind of how I ended up getting started in the market.
And what was your initial intention to move to California?
It's the best. At least at the time, it was the best place in the world to start startups.
So
Um,
you just wanted to launch your startup, but you didn't
yeah,
have any specific idea yet?
well, no, I didn't have an idea at the time, and even before founding a company, I think it's really important to know who are the people you're going to start a company with and where are you going to build it. I think it's really hard to companies, they need a lot of things. They need people, they need money, they need execution, and I think some places in the world are easier than others to find talented people to work with, to raise money, and to execute. I mean, every city has its pros and cons. I think a place like San Francisco or the California Bay Area, it's high density of very talented people. It's high density of venture capital, and it's high density on execution because the social life is so bad. Versus other places, they all have their own kind of different things. Places like Miami, for example, it might be more difficult to execute because there's so many distractions. I think that there is also less of a talent density. But now the amount of venture capital in Florida or places like Texas has increased over the past couple of years as people have kind of decentralized away from the Bay Area to other locations, right? I think what ended up happening throughout the pandemic was a lot of people from the major cities ended up moving to sort of second or second tier or third tier cities because they were more open. Places like Texas or Florida, or even the sort of more nomadic remote work kind of thing became significantly more popularized than pre 2020. And so I think that overall the sort of things that were special about the Bay Area are less special now because so many of the people left. But I'm sure as somebody who's getting started for the first time as an entrepreneur, it's probably still the best place in the world.
And you apply as well machine learning in Arkham, so since Bay Area is the best place for that now
Yeah, it's
for
pretty special.
yeah.
And also now with AI in particular, I think that a lot of the AI market is being built in San Francisco, not necessarily in as many other places. So there's definitely something very special about the place, but I think unfortunately a lot of the kind of social fabric and safety and sort of the more regular quality of life concerns have grown in California. But I still think it's probably one of the best places to start a startup.
And now you moved to London, so why did you decide to move there?
I think overall, London, the UK, these are places where it's easier to start a business and where it is possible to you know grow a community outside the United States. I think that overall it has become very difficult to launch crypto companies in the US. And so it's important to be able to base yourself in other places that are maybe more friendly from a regulatory perspective, but still have, the pros of being able to, be business friendly and start startups and things like this.
So how do you see UK crypto ecosystem and development there?
Yeah, I think the UK overall is probably the best place in Europe to start a business. I think many countries in continental Europe are significantly um, less friendly to business. They have really high taxes. The employment laws are significantly more harsh on employers. I still think the US is probably the best place to run a business in particular, but because the regulations have gotten so tough in the United States, many more entrepreneurs are leaving. I think also the quality of life in the U.S. Has gone down substantially, and so for that reason, many people have relocated, mostly to Asia. I think a lot of people have gone to Hong Kong or to Singapore. Many people are moving to Dubai or even Switzerland. And I think these are all, they all have their benefits and downfalls. But the United Kingdom as a whole, I think, offers a pretty good balance between good quality of life and being pro business.
Yeah, but I feel that crypto, like B2C, project focused community is pretty weak in UK.
Yeah, I
It's
agree with that.
struggling.
I think Asia and Dubai, for example, offer significantly better um, communities, I would say, than anything in Europe, really. I think Europe is really, really weak on community, very weak on VC, but high on, quality of life, and there's some pretty good talent as well.
Yeah, but there are, so it seems, some other hubs in Europe, like Portugal, France seems as well to have quite a big development.
Yes, and they've also sort of come out as being more crypto friendly. I mean, especially like Portugal, for example, there's a lot of entrepreneurs moving to Lisbon, for example, and so I think for that reason, it's become a lot more popularized.
Yeah, and can you tell us all about your first ventures in crypto before Arkham?
Yeah, of
How did
course.
you start with it?
Yeah, I started out with working on a stable coin called Reserve Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Essentially, the basic idea was to create a cryptocurrency pegged to the US dollar that would enable people to, essentially hold a basket of stable assets in order to then have a stable coin that corresponded to the value of that basket, and then allowed people to use the stable coin for any purpose, right? Blockchains in particular have this benefit of being, very international, very cross-border, and low fee. And this is one of the things that makes payments so attractive as a business for crypto companies and blockchain companies in particular, because you have such an edge from a technological perspective against traditional Web2 companies. And so for this reason, it's been, that was kind of like a very interesting sort of start into the crypto market. And Reserve's done very well in terms of its amount of growth and spread and within the ecosystem. So yeah, that was a very good way to get started as an entrepreneur.
So why did you decide then to compete with companies like Tez and Circle with the giants?
Yeah, I think that especially at the time, it was very unclear, what the big stablecoin companies and use cases were going to be. Obviously we're talking uh, 2017, 2018. There was a lot of skepticism around a lot of the existing stablecoins, and there were many different directions that stablecoin companies could have gone. There were a number of competitors like, Basis, for example, or TrueUSD or something like this that were popping up. Even Dai, that all kind of either failed or found their own kind of niche within the crypto ecosystem. And so there was still a lot of opportunity in terms of being able to develop something that could have major use cases. Yeah.
Yeah, and what current developments in stablecoins market do you see? Like there are a lot of private companies like Nick Van Eck launched Agora. We see as well banks launching their own backed USD and Euro stable coins. Uh, do they really need that many, and how they will be interoperable with each other? What the future will see for stable coins?
Yeah, I think the trends for stable coins are they're heading in two directions. The first is very crypto native, and this is the kind of DAI-like stable coin, where it's very crypto native, it's very decentralized. You're deep in the blockchain when actually creating the coins and minting and using them, and then hyper regulated. So this means the more sort of like MiCA compliant very, very strict AML, KYC, and government approved stablecoins. I think uh, stablecoins will have to kind of pick a direction of what kind of coin they want to be, whether or not they want to be the sort of less regulated and more decentralized kind of stablecoin, or whether or not they're going to be one of the hyper regulated ones that market themselves as government approved. So that's my prediction for the general trend of stablecoins going forward.
Can you tell more about Arkham? How did idea start?
Yeah, of course. So, you know, during my time working in crypto businesses, there were a lot of instances where it would have been very helpful to know who were the people behind particular blockchain transactions that seemed like they had made an impact within the market. And so my basic idea with Arkham was to create something where users would be able to log on to Arkham and have a significant amount of information about the largest market players and their activity within the cryptocurrency ecosystem. And I feel that we've successfully created a platform where people would be able to come on and get substantial amounts of information about what different actors and participants within the crypto market were doing in order to either have better risk management or be able to take better trading decisions. And I feel like we've successfully executed on that.
And there are also some similar companies like Chainalysis, Elliptic, probably more focused on the government clients and
Hmm.
enterprise clients.
Hmm.
As well, there is Nansen, they work with both. So,
Hmm.
how you differentiate from those?
I think we're probably the most consumer friendly. We're sort of the most direct to consumer, um, retail friendly platform. A lot of the other platforms are very focused on large institutional accounts, whereas we are more sort of broadly accessible to the greater crypto ecosystem. I think that's a pretty large differentiator. Um, Needless to say, I also think our technology is super advanced and very useful. I think there are many situations where you can only use Arkham in order to get access to particular kinds of information. And without Arkham, the information just wouldn't exist. And so I think those would probably be the two primary differentiators. Yeah.
And as well, can you tell more? How do you apply machine learning in Arkham?
Yeah, of course. So, within blockchains, there are hundreds of millions of different addresses that people use in order to make deposits, use exchanges, other kinds of services, etc. It would be nearly impossible to label all of these things manually, and so for that reason, you need the computer's help in order to be able to get the labels. And so for that purpose, we use a lot of different machine learning and data science type techniques in order to then be able to automatically label a number of different addresses within our platform in order to provide them to the end user. Otherwise, we would need to hire 100,000 employees who are constantly looking at blockchains and manually applying labels. But this is where machine learning and AI really come in terms of a use case and an application.
And can you tell us well more what products and services do you currently have? I know you have Dell Exchange where users can buy and sell intelligence data related
Yes.
to certain wallets. So can you tell
Yes.
more about that?
Yeah. So we basically offer people a number of different things. The entity profile and search, where you can look anybody's or any institution's name up and see what their portfolio, P&L, balances, and transactions look like. Obviously, we also offer a lot of visualization and tracing capabilities, where rather than seeing the info in list format, you can see it in a graph, and that's also pretty huge. Like you mentioned, we offer the Intel Exchange, where people can buy and sell information within Arkham, and this is across many different chains. In terms of future developments that we intend to release, we want to offer significantly more off-chain market data for our trading customers. And in addition, we're looking to offer support for the Solana blockchain, which obviously has become super popularized over the past couple of months. And I think that will be, sort of one of the next steps forward that we take as Arkham.
Yeah, and as well, you're integrating Tone in around 2 weeks too.
Yes, we are also adding support for Ton, which we announced that partnership maybe about a month ago with them. We're super excited about bringing on the Ton ecosystem onto Arkham. We also announced that we're launching a mini app on Telegram.
Oh,
So I think that that will be really huge, especially for some of our communities in Eastern Europe and in the Middle East.
so how will this mini app work? They can just put certain address and find all the data for it.
Yes, within Telegram, you will be able to natively, search and find information within Arkham, and also send alerts to yourself via Telegram for different kinds of blockchain and crypto market activity.
And why does it take longer to integrate Solana?
I think the main sort of trouble with some of these blockchains is that they're not EVM, they're not Ethereum-based chains, and so every type of infrastructure that we use in order to run our analysis needs to be uniquely curated to the way that they have set up their blockchain in particular, and so that means that it's very difficult to quickly onboard a new chain if their chain is built differently from all of the other chains that we currently support. And so it means we need to use substantial, engineering resources in order to get our platform to be configured in such a way where we can support all of the infrastructure of the new chain. Yes.
And how many blockchains do you currently support?
Over 10. Yeah, so we hold a bunch of the major L1s and L2s in the market. Like you mentioned, some of the ones to come include Taunt and Solana, of course. So those are two sort of upcoming ones that we're looking forward to.
And as well, what's your opinion on privacy chains and privacy coins? And
Yeah, I think that they can coexist with platforms like Arkham. We don't focus on privacy chains or privacy coins. We don't even attempt to offer support for any of them. Our purpose is not to go after, privacy people. Our purpose is, if there are already existing transparent blockchains, to make it useful to look at the data, there's no point in them being transparent if it's not usable. And so we've essentially tried to bring utility to them in this way, and have not focused on them. I think that privacy chains, privacy coins, they'll function a lot like, in Web 2, things like Brave browser, things like Tor. Um, you know, people use these services, but it's not necessarily very mainstream. I think the same thing will happen within the crypto ecosystem.
so you think privacy chains won't become mainstream eventually?
I don't believe so, no. Yeah, I mean, I think they'll get a certain number of niche users like Tor or Brave or one of these platforms, and they can be very large in their own right. But I think relatively speaking, the number of users who use Tor versus Google, it's minuscule. And I think that the crypto ecosystem is currently that way in terms of the people who use Bitcoin and Ethereum-based chains, as opposed to privacy-related chains, and I think it will remain that way in the future. That's my prediction, at least.
And do you trade a lot yourself, or are you more like holder type?
No, no, I'm not. I'm not really a trader or investor. I'm more of a builder and a founder. I feel like trading and investing soaks up all of your time, or otherwise you're going to get blown up. And it's the same thing for businesses. I think you have to dedicate all of your time to building the business, and you can't be distracted by anything else, or you're going to blow yourself up too. So I think you have to pick one, and I'm definitely more on the builder side.
But you as well get so much data, so you can track everything on chain, all the
That's true.
movements, and use it for your
That's
investment
true.
strategy.
Yes, we do get a lot of information, but actually all the info that we get, everybody else gets too. And so we don't have any particular edge over any one of our other users. And I'm sure the people who are using Arkham successfully in order to trade, they're spending all of their time doing research on taking trading decisions. So yeah, it's a lot of effort.
And what's your opinion on current state of the crypto market?
Um, I think it's always really difficult to tell what part of these cycles you're in or what's going to happen next. I suspect that we're still in a market where we could have significant uptrends. I think in terms of the previous cycles that I've experienced, it's been situations where you have had a touch of the previous all-time high, followed by a pullback, followed by everything going significantly higher than previous all-time high. I think we might experience a similar situation in this market. It's definitely possible. Obviously, conditions are always different. It's been years since previous cycles. There's always some gap between these bulls and bear markets, and it means that macro conditions are very different. Um, we're heading into an election. Rates are very high, which means they could get cut. And I think that there's a lot more innovation and usage of crypto now than there has ever been. And so,
Mhm.
I remain a long-term believer, but in the short term, it's always difficult to say. But medium term, I would say I'm pretty bullish.
Do you have any price predictions for Bitcoin?
No price predictions. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had, but I will say I do think like long run, I would always bet higher.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And what's your take on Bitcoin and Ethereum spot ETF approvals and institutionalization of the industry?
Yeah, I think that overall, it is a way for us to get more inflows that were previously not possible.
Mhm.
I think that there's a lot of institutional type accounts and customers who previously were not able to hold, Bitcoin physically.
Mhm.
They're not going to go and buy crypto off of an exchange and then hold it in a ledger. They need some sort of way for their broker or bank to sell it to them instead.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of capital that's tied up in that way that's not really to take the compliance or counterparty risk to hold the Bitcoin natively. And so I think that that has opened up the ability for significantly more inflows for the crypto market than we have ever seen before. And so I hope that as things continue to grow and as TradFi hits all-time highs, some of that money will flow back into the crypto market. Yeah.
And do you feel that now these institutions can easily manipulate the market in the way whatever they want?
No, I don't think so. Especially for Bitcoin and Ethereum, the markets are so liquid and so
Mhm.
large that the amount of funds that it would take to do any kind of manipulation would blow basically any institution out of the water. So we're seeing billions of dollars of volume every single day,
Mhm.
and so for an institution to move the market significantly in a way that would constitute manipulation would mean taking the majority of their book and shoving it into
Mhm.
into a coin. I don't think it's possible now.
And how long will this bull market last in your opinion?
Well, they generally last between 12 and 18 months, and I feel like we've really started seeing significantly more growth in crypto since, December or something like this, November.
Mhm.
And so I still think we have, a year left in the tank before, bottoming out. But you never really know, do you? Yeah.
Okay, so next start of the bear market is around summer 2025 for you?
That would be it's only speculation, but that would be my guess would be that hopefully going into the end of the year we'll start to see some good times again, and
Mhm.
once that gets started, I think you only have enough gas in the tank left for 6 months or something. We crypto is an industry where you get a lot of blow off tops, and so
Mhm.
I would suspect that hopefully by the end of the year things start to look better, and if history follows, I would say maybe somewhere around mid next year would be that time. Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully not shorter.
Yes. Yeah. Completely agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you invest as well into any altcoins?
No, I'm not an altcoin investor at all.
So
Yeah.
you only like Bitcoin and Ethereum holder and Arkham?
Yeah. I would say Bitcoin mostly, and then just working on my own projects. Yeah.
And as well, can you share maybe some upcoming plans for Arkham?
Yeah, I think aside from adding market data, significantly more market data and adding support for Ton and for Solana, we're always focusing on just adding having new user growth. And so, for any of the viewers out there who have additional feedback and other sorts of things for products that we can build within Arkham, it's always super useful to receive tweets or
Mhm.
DMs from people telling me what we should be doing within the crypto ecosystem in order to
Mhm.
to make it better. We're always listening to product features and new roadmaps for growth. So I'm really looking forward to rolling out some of the existing stuff and hearing more feedback from the viewers on what we should be adding as well.
And you told you have huge Turkish community. Can you
Yes.
tell more about this and as well where do you see the most activity in which regions in terms of usage of Arkham?
Yeah, I think in terms of the Arkham Intelligence platform, the overwhelming majority of our users come from the US and UK.
Mhm.
Outside of that, we have a significant user base in Turkey. We have a
Mhm.
significant user base in Spain, and in a lot of different Asian countries as well. We've recently taken steps to continue growing our Turkish user base, just because they're enamored with the Arkham platform and
Mhm.
very very bullish on everything that we're building, and so we've recently announced our soccer partnership with Galatasaray, which is the largest soccer team in Turkey and recent Super League champions. So always looking to build more of our global communities
Mm-hmm.
worldwide, and always looking for opinions about how to best do that. But Turkey is definitely one of our largest markets. Yeah.
And can you tell maybe you had some interesting or surprising discoveries related to wallets with Arkham? Uh,
Well,
uh-huh.
I think the most popular one as of late has been our discovery of the German government's Bitcoin
Mm-hmm.
wallets. That's been something that people have been paying attention to, most of all as of late. It's even hit mainstream media. The
Mm-hmm.
sales from the German governments. I think people should be keeping an eye on that. We also found all 10 wallets of the Bitcoin ETFs listed in
Mm-hmm.
the United States, and so these are things to keep an eye on, and that we'll always be releasing interesting information for people.
As well, what about MTGOX logs?
Yeah. We also have some of the Gox data within Arkham as well. I think that's probably one of the most interesting pieces of news this year,
Mm-hmm.
given that people have been waiting, you know, 10 years, if not
Yeah.
more, for some of these coins to be released. So some of the recent movements that we have found, always super interesting, and I would recommend that people set alerts on some of those movements because even if the movements themselves and the sales themselves don't make too much of an impact, sometimes the news in and of itself is enough to move the market because
Mm-hmm.
people start panic selling and things like
Yeah.
that. So I'm very glad that we've been able to find all these different kinds of information for traders and investors to have a very useful ability to get access to information.
Yeah, now a lot of people are really scared about this anti-gox unlock and as well about German government
Yes.
selling Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Do you think it will really impact the price in the long term?
In the long term, not
Like,
necessarily, but in the short term,
I
it
would
has.
say mid-term probably.
Yes, yeah, I think yes, it has impacted it. Maybe again, maybe not the sales themselves, but the news has
Mm-hmm.
definitely impacted the market. But long term, I think it's just noise. I think there's definitely enough volume and demand for Bitcoin in order to sort of wash these concerns away,
Mm-hmm.
but it might take some time.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see another big dip and the
I
market will
hope not.
continue to rise.
Yeah, we're all on the same page.
Yeah, thank you for
Good.
interesting conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much, and thank you to all the viewers.